Welcome to It's Fine, the official podcast of Broken Arrow Public Schools Fine Arts Department on the ArrowVision Network. My name is Adam J. Foreman, Assistant Director of Fine Arts for BA Schools, and today it's all about fine arts all the time, but more specifically, we're going to talk about band. This episode would not be possible without our generous support of our One Club sponsors, First National Bank of Broken Arrow, TTCU Federal Credit Union, Ascension St. John, Tulsa Bone and Joint, and the Arrow Group. And today I am joined by two wonderful human beings. Let's start over here across from me, Mr. Darrin Davis, Executive Director of Fine Arts. Welcome, Darrin.
How are we doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm having a great day so far.
It's a great day. And to my right here, the Director of Bands, Dr. Kelli Pence. Welcome, Kelli.
Hello.
Hello. It's good to see you.
Good to see you.
Always, always. So we're going to just talk about a few things today, but really before we get into that, and I always like to do this, let's go over your background and educational journey to where you are today. So we'll start with you, Darrin. Let's go all the way back to college, and let's get to present day. You ready? Go.
So as a graduate of Broken Arrow High School,
Woohoo!
I went to the University of Oklahoma for a music education degree. I ended up getting my undergraduate degree from Missouri Western State University in St. Joseph, Missouri. It was a drum and bugle corps correlation that got me to that place, and probably the best thing that ever happened to me. To set me on a path to have the experiences I had to become a band director at Broken Arrow High School. I started at Broken Arrow Public Schools in 1993, so that makes this is year 30.
Wow. We should have a party.
We should.
We should.
And I've been at Broken Arrow for 30 years and came to the high school from North Intermediate in 2003. So I believe this is like my 20th year at Broken Arrow High School.
Wow. Very cool. And then so you've worked with everybody. You've done it all.
I've seen a broad range in the years that I've been here at Broken Arrow, from teaching beginning band all the way through our high school wind ensemble, and been a director of the Pride for 30 years now.
And although you are the Executive Director of Fine Arts, you still have a hand in the Pride currently, correct?
I'm wearing multiple hats for different occasions, and this year I'm still serving as a co-director of bands for the Broken Arrow High School.
Very cool. All right, Dr. Pence, take us on your educational journey to today.
Well, I received a bachelor's degree in music performance and music education from Bowling Green State University in Bowling Green, Ohio. Went to Northwestern University in Evanston, Illinois for my master's in music, and earned my doctorate at Northwestern as well.
And where have you taught in your career?
I have taught at the university level, and then I've been at Broken Arrow since 2008. Taught at North Intermediate, South Intermediate, Oliver Middle School, and now at the high school.
Very cool. And you are the director of bands now. You're the one.
The
Pressure.
The one plus
one plus one.
The one plus one.
So let's talk about the Pride of Broken Arrow. Let's talk about Grand National Championships last year. Your band, and please correct me if I'm wrong on anything, highest scores in history at that competition. Is that correct?
That's the truth.
That's
highest
the truth.
score of all time at Grand Nationals, and we think, as far as we know, in the Bands of America system.
Goodness.
I didn't know that until after the event was over. Of course, I think some of our students knew it well before I found out. And yeah, that's something you get to celebrate, right?
Absolutely. And Grand Nationals is held in Indianapolis. Is that correct?
Yeah, Bands of America Grand National Championship is the culmination of a fall season of regional championships, and approximately 100 bands from across America will descend on Indianapolis in any given year for the Grand National Championship. And that's held at Lucas Oil Stadium in downtown Indianapolis, where the Colts play.
So tell us about that show. It had a theme. It had a whole thing. Tell us a little bit about what made it that Grand National Championship winning show.
Well, first you got to have incredible kids performing at such a high level, which I know we're going to brag on them here in just a moment. But it begins with a concept and a design, and that's created by our artistic director and program coordinator. That's Wes Cartwright, who's the person who kind of crafts music, sees the vision, and becomes the master producer as far as the big events that are planned for our students. Now, this show was really written for the 2020 season, which really was a non-competitive
What
year.
happened then? I have no idea.
Yeah, we were interrupted a little bit. No competitions, no everything, stupid COVID, right?
Yeah.
So that gave us an extra year to kind of review and refine in the design process before our kids ever played a note or marched a step of that show. It was very elegant. It was designed to be very sophisticated, elegant, pretty, And show title was called The Edge of Eternity.
So how many cogs and wheels are in the making of a show from the get-go? I'm going to talk. You want to go back to him? Okay, I'll go back to him.
Well, there's lots of things that are in place. The design process, I coordinate and work in tandem with Wes Cartwright. Wes it comes up with the source material of the music, which was primarily based on a piece of music by a not well-known composer in the commercial range, but his name was Arturo Cardelis, and we found a piece of his. It's about 9 minutes long that was premiered with him and a string double quartet from the Berlin Philharmonic. And found that piece on YouTube. Wes did, and said, "Hey, this sounds like it could be the source material for an entire show." And so, coming up with ideas for props, unique look and costuming, the orchestrations musically, the visual design of what you see and all the dots where the kids go, the different places on the field, the choreography that's put in, the equipment work and flag work, rifle work that you see. Those are all different elements that have to be designed, and it's not something you can buy out of a box or go online and buy.
Right.
We find and collect what we believe are the best designers in the country that work with the Broken Arrow Band. And then it takes the next step, and that's where Kelli is masterful in coordinating our staff to teach that to the kids and to elevate their performance level to match that world-class design that we get from year to year.
And so the kids all get all this grand music first before they learn any steps or any choreography? Is the music, I mean, I love this process. This is just so fascinating to me.
Well, it kind of works in tandem with each other. The visual steps plus the music. That's all kind of crafting and learning the basics of that at the same time. And then it's like, the adage of you have to walk and chew gum at the same time. You're having to multitask to create the visual design, what the kids are asked to do visually versus what they're asked to play from memory, not seated down, not with music like it is in a concert hall. So it taxes the students on their coordination skills to be able to multitask and do lots of things and musically, which fires all kinds of neurons in the brain, and then the physical aspect of what the kids are asked to do. When I was in marching band and when I started teaching Broken Arrow, it was about just we marched from A to B. We played this phrase of music, and marching bands evolved. And I think Broken Arrow is a contributor to that we keep trying to reinvent ourselves. And then again, also maybe reinvent the activity where now it's more of a coordinated, almost Broadway production with set pieces and choreography and dance work as well as marching. So it's certainly evolved and changed over the years.
Well, what you guys do is an art, because when you watch that show, it's amazing, the intricateness of all that. So it's definitely, like you said, it's like a show. It's an event. It truly is. So with that, students have a lot of discipline that go into that. How do you teach and enforce the kids to have the discipline, not only to learn the music and learn everything, but also to kind of, for lack of a better word, to have the pride to take ownership of something like that?
Well, we hold all of our students to an incredibly high standard, and it's not an option not to rise to that standard. And I think that's one of our secrets to our success. And we demand excellence from them, and they want to be excellent, and we help guide them to show them what it takes to be at that level.
So with that, do a lot of your kids also have kind of that tandem of excelling academically as well as being very good in their fine arts? Do you guys kind of keep that congruent with each other?
Well, they have to be highly motivated because there's an eligibility component that we have to do. You have to be passing all your classes to perform in the competitive environment. So, there's some external motivation, for students to not only excel academically, but research does show that students that are involved in music score higher on standardized tests and have a greater wealth of background and knowledge to participate in whatever the academic background they choose to do. But music seems to be the common core for those students to excel.
So walk me through a typical marching season. When does it start?
Well,
you guys are always going though, right?
At some level, people wonder when's our off season?
Yeah,
because in the band world, there never is an off
right,
season.
Right.
Once marching band season will conclude at Grand National Championships, we're immediately the next week doing concerts and concert band. We develop into chamber ensembles, different concert bands across the 9 through 12 students. We have an indoor percussion. We do winter training with the color guard. So at some level, there's something going on that is another facet of our program to showcase. But it's always hand in hand that the marching band helps train our students to be better musicians. We train our student musicians through the spring, and their concert ensembles also helps refine their skills to get back into marching season. Now, we select the year's marching band through auditions, which we're a volunteer marching band.
Which is roughly how many kids?
It's roughly 300.
Woo. That's a lot.
It's a lot of people.
That's a lot, yes.
But that audition process happens late spring. And the audition is more about placement into the ensemble rather than restriction of membership. And then we meet periodically through the summer, mostly for conditioning and training and building skills throughout the summer. The last week of July is when we really begin band camp. And that's where we begin really learning show, learning music, learning drill. And that carries across through the fall season.
So there's all kinds of competitions along the way, right? For the marching season, you guys have different invitationals you either host or go to. Is that correct?
Well, that's typical. You hear in the band world, it's Bandtober. October is.
I've never heard that before. That's fantastic.
October is where all these events really start the competitive season. The first weekend in October every year in Broken Arrow is when we host our Broken Arrow Invitational. And we actually have a Broken Arrow Invitational for the 2022 season.
How many bands?
I think there's 10, 12 bands going to be here this year that come to the Broken Arrow Invitational. We have a world-class adjudication panel that comes in to provide feedback and scoring for those invitational bands. And then the Broken Arrow Band, we would do a exhibition at that, and it gives us an opportunity to kind of do a preview of our competitive program to our adjudication panel. That's a nationwide panel. Gives us excellent feedback as we continue to develop through the fall season. And that kind of goes into the regional championships for Bands of America. We go to the St. Louis Super Regional.
So there's multiple ones, multiple regionals?
I think there's over 20 that they host
Good night.
through late September and October, multiple sites.
It's about 4 every weekend.
For the weekends,
Wow.
you name it.
Wow. And how about how many bands descend upon each super regional?
A super regional is typically around 60 to 70 bands.
Good grief.
You talk about mechanics and a sea of buses and trucks when you arrive.
That's a lot of logistics to keep in a row, especially just for your own 300 kids. My goodness. You guys are like world-class logistical human beings. I love Bandtober. I'm going to use that for the rest of my life. Let's talk about this marching season. I don't want you to give away anything, of course, because, we all want to see it in its glory. But how's this marching season in the show? How's it developing?
Well, I'll jump in and let Kelly.
I want to hear
finish up.
everything from Kelly, all the time.
The program we've picked is something very striking and very different from what we did last year. That's what we'll give away so far.
Nice.
And at some levels, I think this is probably the most physical program that we've ever selected that asks a lot physically and musically of the performers. And we've had growing pains to get used to those physical attributes. And to be honest, in the last, week and a half, Dr. Pence, the kids, it's like they were finally grasping where you can see the emerging proficiency in what they're going to do, and you can tell how great this year's edition of the Pride of Broken Arrow is really going to be.
There's always a turning point in September. Are they going to get it? How well are they going to get it? And we've had that in the past couple of weeks. They've really stepped up. They've really started to show that they're hungry, that they want it, and that they're going to make it happen. We're giving them a great product, and they're going to realize it. I always tell them they're the X factor. We'll always give them the best product. The only X factor to Pride is how well are they going to achieve it, and they've really started to step up.
And I'm sure there's some kids that were on last year's Grand National group that were like hungry for it again. And does that drive any kind of competitive spirit in them?
I'm sure it's easy for every starting group just to remember how they ended the previous year. And that's not how band works.
Right.
Because you start over from scratch every single year.
Yeah, new show, new everything, yeah.
And like Nick Saban, for the great football coach for the University of Alabama, he always says there is no shortcut to excellence. you have to start over every year. You have to start over with the basics and the fundamentals. And while that may not be the most glamorous thing to work on all the time, fundamentals is where it's at to be proficient, to be able to perform at the highest of level. And that's a process every single year. And this year's group is definitely taking that process to heart, and we're growing. We have to grow each year, just like our Tiger football team. Last year's leaders aren't a part of the group any longer, and a new set of leaders have to step in and wear that crown for their senior year. And that's a process every single year. And our seniors this year are really growing into that role to be those leaders that they envision themselves being.
So this is kind of a philosophical question. So, put on your philosophical hat about the importance of all this discipline in a student's life beyond when they leave this place. How much do you think that ingrains and stays with them when they leave, knowing what the pride has instilled in them?
Well, it depends how long this podcast really is. This is what we're all about, really. Marching and music and excellence in those areas are certainly important. But as teachers and as their directors, we care far more about just doing things the right way, becoming first-class human beings, caring about others, learning life skills of time management, conflict resolution. We're not always going to get along, but how do we get through those moments of adversity? That's important life skills that we hope that our members carry with them far beyond their high school years. I'll tell you that probably one of the most proud things and most gratifying things in the job is to receive a contact from our alumni, and they will give us snippets and stories of their life, of what they've been able to achieve through their time in the band program. And I'm going to throw it to Dr. Kelli Pence. She's actually kind of capitalized on that this year so that we can get out that word of what are these life skills that our students can share back with us.
What are you doing? Tell us, please.
Well, one of the things we like to say is that life is an audition, and how you do anything is how you do everything. And so those are the things that we like to teach our students and take with them for the rest of their lives, and how this striving for excellence can impact them in their future. And so we've started a new series, very, very new. It's called Investing in Our Future. And what we're seeking is for any alumni to send us a 2 to 3 minute video of just how what they have learned in Pride or in band has impacted their life. We've gotten several videos back already. Some really great information. One was saying that once you've tasted excellence, you want it in every aspect of your life. You want it in your job. You want it in your relationships. You want it in your hobbies. You want it in the friends that you keep. And once you've tasted it, that's what you want. You want it in your marriage. And so we hope that kids can take this and they seek excellence in everything in their lives so that they can have the best life possible.
So you guys have thrown me. I didn't think you got so philosophical. I'm loving every minute of it. I thought, this might be hard to pull that out of you, but it's in it. It's in you guys every day.
This is far more important than the right notes and rhythms, and we care a lot about those. But this is far more important, and this is what we do.
Awesome. So let's talk about the future of Pride and marching band in general. Like, what do you see for Broken Arrow in the next 5-10 years, especially as you're transitioning to a new role in your life and career?
Well, that's something that we think about all the time. We're already planning multiple years in advance, and that's just what it takes to run, I think, a well-rounded and creative program and at the highest level. But there's no signs with our future of what we have with our younger students and the investment that our band director team is making to build energy in the post-COVID kind of interruptions that we had, to rebuild some of those lost skills that we had with younger kids, so that we're set up for years and years and years to come. The design process, it never stops. We're always trying to reinvent ourselves and not rest and do a show that would be totally expected. I think Broken Arrow, when it comes to the show designs, every year I think that the audience, they want to know, like, what's it going to be this year? Because we expect something creative and very different. But with every single show you've seen with Broken Arrow in the past years, and you'll see in the future, it's still going to have an identity that makes it very Broken Arrow.
And it's about that branding, which is what I'm all about. You guys are excellent at that in your craft. What about you? What about future for you?
Well, since the future is on my shoulders, and it is a heavy weight. When you're
Nothing. Yeah, no stress there.
When you're at Broken Arrow, it is very difficult to do something that hasn't already been done, because we have been fortunate enough to be so successful and accomplished in a lot that we have done. So that's hard to do. One, we'll have to keep the standard. The standard we'll have to keep. We're going to continue to try to improve. Our goal with marching band every year is to be better than we were the year before, no matter how good it was. We're going to continue to try to be better, and we're going to keep that. Another thing some people don't realize is, because the marching band is the most visible aspect of our program, it's certainly not the only thing that we do. We do a whole lot more. And so we're going to try to put some more energy and efforts into those things, creating new things like Club 78, which we have just started with our middle school 7th and 8th graders, which is an after-school program every Monday. If you haven't joined, it's not too late to sign up. And we're going to do some of those things. Indoor percussion is really starting to take off. We've got some other middle school avenues that we're trying to pursue and really let them shine as well. So it's nothing will happen with the Pride. The Pride should be what it has been for decades and will continue to be the crown jewel of Broken Arrow. And we're going to try to create more.
Well, and that's important to recruit from the younger kids and get them interested, because they are your pride of tomorrow. So that's great. The Club 78 thing is fantastic. Love that. Well, we're going to wrap up here. Is there anything y'all want to add as we come to the conclusion of our podcast today?
Well, for any events that the band hosts, or any of our events across the fine arts, we want to celebrate kids. We want the public to become invested in their community. And anytime if it's a nominal fee for an event, whether it's the fall play or coming to an open rehearsal or the BAI to see the Pride of Broken Arrow perform, we want to see as many of our patrons locally as possible to really show our appreciation for the hard work that our students give, because they give so much to get what they get in return, and that's something that's very important for us as a community, is to not forget to show the support to those students, to the kids.
Very good. Very good. Dr. Pence?
Can't say it any better than that.
Well, thank you so much, both of you, for joining us on It's Fine, an official podcast of the Arrow Vision Network. Darren Davis, thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Dr. Pence, appreciate you much. I'm Adam J. Foreman. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.